Hey, it's winter break here at Pedalshift. We're going to be taking a little time off and back with brand new episodes March 12th. But in the meantime, enjoy this amazing best of.
Hello there. This is Brock Dittus, founder of the Sprocket Podcast and current bike touring enthusiast, among other things. I also like music a lot. I was pleased that Tim Mooney asked me to provide a little bit of summary and a little bit of reporting on this solo bike tour that I'm doing. I haven't done a solo bike tour in a long time. I think 2010 is the last time I went out entirely by myself for more than one night. And even when I go out for one night things, usually it's with friends, people. The most recent camping I've done is with my family. We've done a lot of either cargo bike or bike and trailer touring with my kids. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So right now I'm staring at my bed. My bed this will be the last night I sleep in it after I pack all the stuff that's on top of it into my bags. But I'm going to enjoy a good night's sleep here. And then I'll be on the road for 6 nights, I believe. So the summary of the tour is I am going down through the Willamette Valley. I'm going to make a stop off at former Sprocket Podcast co-host and the guy that helped me start the show, Brandon Rhodes. I'm going to stay at his house and catch up with him. I'll be dropping by and seeing former Sprocket Podcast show guest Will Vanloo the next morning on my way out of town. Going to head through Oak Ridge, do some wild camping out in that area. I'll be going over the Ofterhide, which the most recent update tells me that even though there have been rock slides in the area in the past several years, it's currently clear, ready to go. I'll be camping at the Limberlost Campground up there in the woods by Mackenzie Bridge. And then one of the highlights of this tour is that I've never done the Mackenzie Pass without cars. The only time I've done that on a bike has been when it's also been open to cars, but usually it's not open to cars until the third week of June. And so right now the reports I'm hearing from the Sisters Bike Shop is that the pass is clear on both sides from west to east and back again. I'll be going over from west to east. I'll be dropping off into Sisters and staying at their hiker-biker campground. After that, I'll be going back, and I haven't found out yet if the route that I'd like to take that Google suggested to me, whether that is currently open and or passable. I believe it's unpaved, and so we'll see whether I'm up for that or not. Got to find somebody who knows, whether that's somebody at the ranger station or elsewhere. And going to be ending up in Edana, I believe that's how you say that, Edana, Oregon, which is very near Detroit Lake. There's a private campground there. The last day will be all the way back through the Sandium Canyon into Sublimity, where my wife is hosting a preschool graduation, and my son will be wearing a mortar cap. So that's kind of just a summary of the trip. I'm looking at my bed right now, and I think you may be able to see the picture on the website, but looking at all the different things that I will be bringing with me. This is, I was telling my wife, the most involved I think my packing has been for a long time. I would say the last time I laid out all my gear and looked at it before I went on a bike tour, it had to be, 8 years ago or more. It's pretty easy to just toss stuff in a bag and go for like a weekender trip or something like that. But for this one, since I'm going to be on my own and I want to make sure I have what I need, I decided to go to the extra mile and look at my stuff before I pack it. So maybe that's the bare minimum. Who knows? I don't know what your style is. But anyways, that is it. I've also got ridiculous allergies right now. The pollen count in the Willamette Valley is very high. It's the beginning of June 2023, and boy, my nose is killing me. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this. I will be trying to conduct a little catch-up every time I do stop, or if there's something notable that happens on the trip. I'm going to send these over to Tim, and he will find out what is interesting enough to share with you. So thanks again, Tim, for letting me share some of what I'm doing, and I hope you, the listener, enjoy this very much. I'm doing this all for you. Well, also for me, but I'm glad that we can share this experience together. All right. I am 18.75 miles into my ride, apparently, with an average speed of 9.48 miles per hour. Been riding for 1 hour and 40 minutes and 49 seconds. Yeah, I just hit Jefferson, Oregon, so it feels like I'm really on the trip now. I've been down the way that I took out of town several times in the past several weeks, I guess. And so it's nice to have some new ground, some places. I have ridden through here before, but it's been a long time. So Jefferson's looking good. I stopped at their market here. I've got a sandwich. I've got some chips. I've got some Gatorade Zero. Glacier Freeze is my Gatorade Zero. Glacier Freeze is my Gatorade Zero flavor of choice. yeah, I'm going to take a little break here. I do have a work call that I couldn't get out of. There wasn't really another time for those folks to meet, so I will be calling them probably from here in Jefferson or just down the road. And then I'll keep on heading south down to Coburg. Looking forward to seeing my old friend Brandon. It will be nice to have a place to drop and land. So, okay, I am here in Brownsville, Oregon. It's the place where they filmed portions of the movie Stand By Me. It's also where, I believe, where the actual movie is set, if I'm not mistaken. But I forget. Anyways, had a wonderful snack, and I am now about to saddle up on the bike again and head down to Coburg to meet up with an old friend and take a load off. I realize I've not ridden a loaded touring bike since last summer, and so, not that I'm getting used to it necessarily, but I haven't done it for a while, and so it does feel a bit different than the riding I've done most recently. Two things. One, I'm carrying a wireless charger that I've been using to charge up the phone here and there. I'm very curious as I conduct this trip how long my phone's battery will last. I'm trying to pare down some of the things I would usually use my phone for to preserve the battery and make it last a little bit longer. I am trying to track the rides, and so I'm very curious what will happen with that. Because I use corded earbuds, I haven't had good luck with splitters. They end up, it seems like they end up breaking down or just not working after a while, wear and tear and all that. So I have to charge the phone either when I'm not listening to it, or I can use this wireless charger, which I'm doing now. And I'm currently at 26%. I'm very curious if I can raise this to 30% before I leave, just to have enough battery to go through the rest of the ride. I'll probably be fine. I've got the worst allergies today and yesterday and the day before. I think it really kind of kicked in. The Willamette Valley is one of the highest pollen count areas, one of the highest allergens per whatever the unit is. There's a lot of stuff in the air. It makes me just once or twice a year just really get runny nose and all that, and I've got the associated symptoms, so that is no fun. But yeah, so anyways, it's been a good ride so far. I feel like I have this hot spot on my right foot that always seems to be a little bit like it seems like that's where it happens first. So I'm curious if it's the shoe, is it something else? It's my pedaling style. I don't clip in. If you remember, I just wear regular tennis shoes, so it could be I'm due for a new pair of shoes. Who knows? It also could be I'm just not used to doing this and haven't done it for a while, and now I'm starting to notice that. So I think the snacks that I found at the Dairy Mart here in Brownsville were one of those fruit popsicles that they have, the little slide case things, a big bottle of water, a pickle, 3 jalapeno poppers, and a beef jerky and cheese stick combo pack. So I think it's about time for me to get back on the road. I am not looking forward to being done with this, but it's hot, it's the afternoon. I wouldn't mind taking a load off. So that being said, it is wonderful to be out. This is the first time I've been out in a long time, and it feels really good to be back on the tour.
Well, it's a beautiful morning in Coburg, Oregon, and I'm just watching my friend Brandon walk up the driveway. So we'll see if he joins me in this bit of tape here or not. But I am grateful to have rested. It was a long day at the end of the day. Definitely, I did 67 miles. That's way more than I've done in a long time. Nice to start the morning with a cup of coffee. The allergen count apparently is 1301, which is a new record for the Eugene area. And I can feel it in my sinuses. So I'm looking forward to getting into the mountains where the air is clearer. And yeah, that'll be it. You want to be on tape for a podcast?
Huh? Hello, world.
There we go. So anyways, today begins a brand new attempt. It's a place I've never been before. There's a reservoir down by the city of Lowell on my way up to Oak Ridge, and the north side is the side less traveled, and that will make all the difference, I presume. There's going to be a little bit of gravel there. At least one rider on Strava has confirmed that it's a rideable track, so that's good. It is a little bit of gravel. I don't know exactly what kind of gravel. I think it says hard packed in the description, but I'm not entirely going in blind. Just don't know what I'll find until I get there. Going to make a stop through Springfield this morning, go see another old friend, Will Vanloo, former Sprocket Podcast guest a couple of times, and I'm going to catch up with him before I head out to the rest of the day. So I do feel refreshed. I realize tonight I will not have the benefit of a shower or a bed. I'll be sleeping in my tent. And I did not, I intended before I left on this trip to patch up the tent. This tent of mine is a little bit old, and it's had some tent tape. I've noticed some things flaking away, just I think due to the age of the tape. So I've got 2 rolls of tent tape, and I can do some tent patch if I need to. A good camp activity tonight. So this will be it. But right now it's a beautiful morning. It's not nearly as warm as it was last night, nor as humid. It feels much better. I expect we'll get some cloud cover today. I have been told that there will not be rain for 10 days. So, that would be nice if that was the case. I did bring my rain gear, so if I do need to suit up, I've got nearly everything I need to stay dry, but I would prefer not to have to do that if that is the case.
Okay. This is the first time I've recorded in motion, going up a very steep hill outside of Lowell, Oregon. Lowell is on a reservoir, and I am climbing. I think there's a dam on the east end, the upstream end, and it's going even farther up. So, anyways, first big climb of the day. And I don't know exactly how far in I am, but probably a little less than halfway, I'd guess. This is where I go off the grid for a bit. Had a nice lunch at the Jasper store. Of all the things that I'm not supposed to eat, they come in foil packages. So, Italian cheese blend Gardettos and gummy bears. Had a wonderful morning. Thanks again to my friends Brandon and Kelly, who had me stay at their house last night. And thanks to Will, who gave me coffee and rode out down the mill race path in Springfield. It's real neat. So I'm glad I had some local knowledge there, was able to see some friends. Now on I go up the hill, aiming for Oak Ridge tonight. I am riding on gravel right now, and I am very happy to report that Boundary Road, or National Forest Road 5821, here east of Lowell, I mean, it's bumpy enough to make my voice shake a little bit maybe, but it's definitely not a crazy road to ride. It's pretty doable with my 32 centimeter tires. So I think I'd recommend it, unless something changes before I get to Westboro here. But yeah, one tip I was thinking about, I probably have thought about this before, but if you're on a Forest Service road or any unpaved road that's wide enough for 2 directions of traffic, usually the point towards the center will be where things have been tamped down enough to give you a smooth ride, because the tires from both directions of traffic tend to tamp it down. So that is nice. Okay, haven't tangled with any trucks yet, but I don't want to, so I'm going to stop and we'll come back later. I am here at Salmon Falls Campground, and I think this is a National Forest campground. It's managed by a private company, as many of them are. You can probably hear Salmon Falls in the background. It's really quite beautiful. It's lovely. So I had a memory of camping out near this with Adele back in 2015 on our bike tour, but I think it could have been a place that I passed earlier. I was looking for a free place to stay, and it seemed like a free place to stay would be nice. But then when I arrived here, I was expecting a day use area. Then it was a campground. It looks like I gave them $20. It's $19 a night, but I had cash in my pocket, and so I gave them $20. So I hadn't planned on spending that tonight, but I feel like I'm grateful for it, because I've got this beautiful campsite right here on the bluff looking over Salmon Creek. It's campsite number 13, and it has this little feather that somebody stuck in between, so I'm just going to leave that there. Presumably it's going to protect me from all evil that comes on you when you camp in campsite number 13. But I got my little one-man tent set up. Actually, it doesn't seem like it needs all that much repair. I may find differently later, but right now I've just got my bag unrolled inside, got it all set up. I may sleep without the rain fly on tonight. We'll see. There were a couple little drops of rain that seemed like they were coming out of the sky. It was definitely kind of gray earlier. It seems it's still kind of gray. It's not clear skied, but I don't think it's going to rain a lot tonight. It's possible I'll wake up to something misting on my face. So if that's the case, I'll put the fly on overnight, I think. But that being said, I rolled in, and I think the thing that really sold me is there's also a bundle of firewood that someone left here in this campsite. So if in fact I feel like having a fire tonight, I may do that. But at the very least, I have a picnic table I've spread all my stuff out on already. I've changed into my dry clothes. I'm doing this thing that I picked it up, I think, backpacking. And what I do is I've got a set of clothes that I wear on the bike. And I wear those when I'm riding the bike. And I get all sweaty and everything. I had a wonderful dinner at the Covered Bridge Park there in West Fir, right next to Oak Ridge. I took a little shortcut through the disc golf course and popped out right there. So I spent about an hour making instant mashed potatoes, and I had a can of beans, which I opened with my Leatherman tool. I'm grateful for that, grateful I have it. And then also instant mashed potatoes. It was instant mashed potatoes, I said, and what else did I have? Ramen. I had ramen. Now I'm enjoying an adult beverage and letting my clothes dry out. I've changed into my camp clothes. I'm going to wear those tonight, and then I will change back into my camp clothes tomorrow morning. So, see how that goes. I expect it'll be good. I don't know if the campsite has water, and I haven't found it yet. My guess is maybe not, but I may be able to wrangle some out of the camp host. We'll see if I see them in the morning. And I'll be going back through Oak Ridge on the way out, because I'll be going up the Ofterhide tomorrow, the Ofterhide Parkway, which is Forest Road 19. So, looking forward to that. Anyways, I am going to rest and wake up in the morning. Okay, I am back at the Office Covered Bridge. They got a wonderful little city park here in West Fir. It's where I had dinner last night before I went through Oak Ridge. Maybe I chose the wrong way. I went the steep way over the hill to Oak Ridge. I could have gone the other way and a more gentle, but I got my workout last night. Anyways, it's almost noon. Took a pretty slow morning getting out of camp. I did find a couple of holes. I had expected I would need to patch a bunch of things, and I did see those holes when I got up this morning. I didn't see them last night. I didn't notice them. But I did get some tent tape patches put on, so I will be completely sealed off tonight from whatever critters are out there in the woods, which is nice. It was nice to sleep without the rainfly last night. That just, it was dry. I could wake up and see the sky in the morning. I fell back asleep several times. It was really luxurious. So anyways, sometimes it's nice to pay for camping. Back here at the Office Covered Bridge, I'm going to use their restroom and fill up all my water bottles, and then I'm going to start going up because there's a lot of elevation for the rest of this day. And like I said, it's noon. I am sitting next to the creek here at Limberlost Campground at the base of, my goodness, Mackenzie Pass. I'm so tired I can't even remember the name of it. It's been a big day. The first several miles of the Ofterhide are some of the nicest riding you will ever do. I've never done the entire thing end to end. It's quite possible that even though it gets steep in some parts, it could be pleasant. But I took a gravel shortcut and I went up and over some elevation, and my goodness, it felt like it would never end. I haven't done that in a while, and I'm pretty sure that's the route that I took back in 2015 when my wife and I did that route. But today I encountered some snow. There was some snow that I had to drag my bike over the top of. Fortunately, it wasn't difficult. It wasn't like post-holing snow where my feet sank down farther than I wanted to. I just kind of walked across them like Legolas the elf. But there was snow. There was really like big cobbly ballast. Not even cobbly, but just big sharp rocks. The kind that they drop when log trucks come through all the time. And I tried to ride some of that. I had to walk some of it. I was really worried about my bike, and because I'm a little superstitious about the bike, all I'm going to say is did a really good job. I had to break a chain link. I had to pull 2 links of chain off because I think I tried to fix it yesterday. And I have a chain breaker and I have a multi-tool, but yeah, today it seemed like it wasn't fixing. It wasn't going to be fixed, and so I had to take 2 links of chain out. I'm doing just fine since then, and I'm hoping that'll get me through. There is a bike shop in Sisters if I need it. And yeah, and then man, just distance. I did 66 miles today, and I don't know how much elevation, but it was probably too much. I really enjoyed when I finally got the chance to go downhill. I didn't necessarily. There were a couple of campgrounds that I came across. I didn't easily see whether there was tap water, and so I didn't worry too much about tap water. I figured I'd go to the store. So I rode down to Highway 126, and I stopped at the store in Rainbow. I have had jalapeno poppers, for better or worse, on every day of this trip so far. So I feel like maybe that's a streak I shouldn't break. Anyways, tonight they were free because I forgot to buy them. I was buying a couple of beverages for camp, and there was a big block of cheese and pepperoni sticks that was jalapeno flavored. And I had a sandwich, and I had 2 Gatorade Zeros, and I also had those jalapeno poppers. So it still feels like maybe I could be at a deficit today just based on all the work I put in. yeah, anyways, as you can hear, I'm right next to the river. This is a lovely setting. I think I'm going to dip my feet into the water and cool them down, even though the water's probably going to be really cold. And then I'm going to set up my tent and get ready. There's just one other guy, and I happen to be in the site right next to him, but he's friendly, and so am I. And so, yeah, that's the situation. Limberlost tonight. I am real grateful. I didn't charge anything today. I've got probably one more charge left on my battery, which will get me through tomorrow, I think, until I get into Sisters. But this is a new era. I'm using my phone to listen to some audio, some podcasts while I'm pedaling, and I'm using it to track my rides because I want to know what my statistics are. And so I'm using more battery on my phone than I would have back in the day. So I've charged the phone occasionally on the ride. Battery management is an interesting thing. And I know that there are some newer phones. I actually have my work phone in my bag, but I can only use it for work things, which I did this morning for about 15 minutes. So those will be billable hours. Well, it's a quarter of a billable hour. But yeah, it was nice to know that phone is doing just fine. My personal phone is probably going to run out of battery again tonight at some point. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways. This is the sort of wrung out feeling that feels terrible until you get to camp. And then when you get to camp, everything's better because you know you're not going to have to push any farther. And you know your hot spots in your feet are going to settle down a little bit. You know that you get to drink some water and you get to drink some adult beverage if that's what you choose to do. So I am more than ecstatic about that. I cannot wait. So anyways, that's the plan. Feels good. Couple of notes. Just last night, the campsite I stayed at had far less breeze and it was a bit muggier, and there were mosquitoes everywhere. For whatever reason, tonight at Limberlost, I don't think there are any mosquitoes, which make this a magical experience. I'm sitting on a cut stump on my cushion, cross-legged. I won't pretend that I'm meditating, but I do feel definitely calm, at ease. That's great. I did not stick my feet in the water. I'll probably do that. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I won't. But with the light fading and the temperature dropping and everything, I feel pretty comfortable having changed into my camp clothes and draping my sweaty clothes over the table for tomorrow. And I think I'm doing okay at not being a misanthrope when it comes to interacting. People are always curious, right? When they see a bike with a bunch of bags on it, they're always like, "Oh, where are you going?" And sometimes it's my least favorite question to answer, but I've tried to be real friendly, and I think I've succeeded at just kind of, honoring people's curiosity, trying to be a good representative for bicycle touring as a whole, and just trying to be a nice person. I think maybe I've had enough time to myself that I feel charitable to the rest of the world, which is good. I think that's kind of why I try to do this, to retreat and to be by myself for a while, and then to look at the world differently after. So I guess it's working. Long live bike touring. All right. I am finally sitting in my tent here in Sisters, Oregon. It was a lot of climbing today. I'm glad I did it, but I'm definitely tired. Tomorrow's going to be a longer day, and so I'm trying to bed down and rest well tonight. The Sisters Hiker-Biker Campsite is a really lovely place right here by a creek. It's also by the road, by the highway, so you can hear that. But it is only $5 a person, so it's a pretty good deal. I got myself a shower for an extra $1 in quarters, which I was glad that I had with me. And I've been camping out and sleeping in the woods for a while, and most of what I've been eating has been preserved and canned salty food and all that sort of thing. And so I got some vegetables when I got to the market. Just some fruit juice and those fancy smoothie drinks or whatever, a bunch of tomatoes and an apple. I feel much better having had those. I also got some junk food later tonight because I figured, well, I didn't eat all that much today, and I probably still should. So it wasn't the healthiest way to end the day, but definitely something I'm glad that I did as well. More calories because I'm going to keep on using them tomorrow. I think there are either 4 or 5 people, maybe 6, using the hiker-biker here tonight. It is the night of the rodeo here in Sisters, Oregon, but I think that's farther down the road. I don't really hear a lot. Mostly what I'm noticing is just that there's a lot of folks in the campground, and they're here with their RVs and whatnot.
and I don't know if it's related to the rodeo or not, but the sheriff was here to kick somebody out of the showers. I'm not sure what was going on. So anyways, there's all that. But yeah, tomorrow morning, I think I will avail myself of the coffee shop in town. I did not have jalapeno poppers tonight, but that's okay. That's a streak I can break and I'll be okay with. Tomorrow, I think I'm just going to ride the highway, and I had plotted out a back roads route, but things being as they are, I think I would prefer just to stay on the pavement and grind out the miles. So about another 60 miles or so. I think it's only, 2,500 feet of climbing or thereabouts, which is way more than I'm used to, but also far less than today, which was like 35. And then I think the day before that it was like 56 or something. Pretty ridiculous. So that's why I'm so tired. But anyways, all that to say, I am taking a nice leisurely evening. I'm already inside the tent, just hanging out. It's, 8:30. And yeah, gonna catch up on some messages, see if I can categorize some of my receipts in my personal accounting. Boy, you want my wildlife, that's what you know. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. Good morning. I am here at the Proxy Falls Trailhead on Highway 42. I could have sworn that the highway is closed before this. I did pass a gate, but I'm guessing there's another one up here somewhere. Anyways, I'm feeling it this morning. From the Limberlost campground, basically start by going right uphill. I've got a total distance that's much less than I took yesterday. Yesterday was I think I said 66 miles. Today is supposed to be about 35, but it's a lot of climbing right up front, which reminds me of the last time we were here, because in 2015, my wife and I we went over this. It was open to cars, I think then, because it was in the middle of the summer, but I remember being just so bummed about the whole day because I wasn't ready to climb. And I feel similarly today that I'm not ready to climb, but I'm not as bummed out. And I've been trying to take breaks, having some. I had a Cliff Bar earlier. It's one of those coffee based, it's got like an espresso shot in it or something. Super tasty. I was grateful to have found that in my wares, in my stores. And so yeah, having packed that along for several days, I finally broke that open to eat it. Tastes great. I think I have the Cool Mint Chocolate Cliff Bar here, but I think I'm going to put that away for later because it contains caffeine as well. I'll save that for later if I need it. So I got to dig one more Cliff Bar out of my bag and have that. Seen a few folks that are riding the pass today. It looks like there was a crew that went past me, about 4 or 5 guys that were all biking together, several solo dudes, and a couple of folks that have just come ripping down from the top. They must have started earlier than I did. I woke up at 9:30 this morning, I realized, looking over at my watch, and I guess I was tired. Tomorrow is going to be a bigger mileage day, and my assumption is just I think I've gotten all the gravel gumption out of me. I really don't need to ride anymore on paved roads. I'm really curious about the route that I had potentially planned out from Sisters back over to the west side. But a lot of that is going to be back in the woods, and maybe I've seen enough of the deep woods. Maybe riding the highway would be just fine for me. Plug in some podcasts and just pedal away. So I don't know. I guess I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do exactly. Some of that will be informed by if I learn anything today. I'll certainly see some of the road from the highway, but I don't imagine that I will probably end up doing that. So yeah, I got in super late last night. I gave the update for Limberlost, but it was essentially sundown when I pulled into the campsite, and yeah, so I didn't spend a whole lot of time. I did get a nice breakfast this morning. I've been hanging my food bag. I don't know that it's necessary. There was a warning about being bear safe in my email confirmation for the Limberlost campground, but when I was at the other Forest Service campground the night before, the host had said, yeah, there's probably not a lot of bears. Maybe some chipmunks, maybe some raccoons, etc. But yeah, I've been hanging the bag anyways, just to avoid any difficulties. It is difficult to hang a food bag, I think, properly, the way you're supposed to do it for bear in the Northwest woods, because there aren't that many branches that are really big on these trees. But I can get it off the ground, and I figured that's a good place to start. So anyways, been playing the little game at camp each night of tie the rope to a rock and then try and throw the rock with the rope over the branch so that it comes back down so you can tie your food bag. It's a fun game. I recommend it. But yeah, that's probably everything of interest right now, other than I think, this is a Thanksgiving meal situation. My eyes are bigger than my plate or something, or my plate's bigger than my tummy, or I forget how that goes. Anyways, my legs are tired, and I still got a lot of elevation to climb. So after this break, up I go. I am 16 miles into the ride already this morning. It is 10:30, and I think that that's when I got onto the road yesterday. But I was up much earlier this morning. I went to sleep probably much earlier last night. I was definitely tired and ready for a rest. I feel a lot better today. Some of that is probably from having eaten some fruits and vegetables and all that. Yeah, I am looking over Subtle Lake. Subtle Lake is one of my favorite spots here in the Deschutes National Forest. I wouldn't mind going to camp here again someday. But just looking out over the valley at Mount Washington, the effects of a forest fire. There were several fires here in the last couple decades, but most notably the 2020 fires that we lived through when we lived in Salem. I still do. But all of that is done, and now I can see a nice lush green bed below the burnt trees. It's a beautiful scene as it is. I can't quite see Black Butte from where I am. The trees have grown up around this little viewpoint, but Black Butte is also there. I cruised past that this morning, and I realized, wow, I'm going fast. So I'm grateful for that. I think there was a mileage marker that said 16 miles to the summit. I'm already to the point on the highway where there is a passing lane for motor traffic, and I expect I will be at the top pretty soon. So just got to keep pedaling away. But again, today, far less climbing. I was wondering if I just disliked bike touring altogether, but I think Highway 242, the west slope approach on Mackenzie Pass, that is a really, really steep hill. And maybe that's why I was so bummed yesterday. I am grateful for the trip that I have a chance to take, and yeah, I would say that today I'm feeling much better. And I think I am still curious about the potential route, the unpaved route. So maybe I'll come out and explore that someday. But at the moment, I'm very grateful. Even though there is a lot of traffic, I'm grateful for the shoulder. There's a pretty big shoulder here, which is nice. And as a loaded touring bike, I know I'm wide. I've never felt like the shoulder is too narrow, although sometimes there's sand and gravel that have kind of washed onto the pavement. But in general, I can keep to the right of that white line, and I feel like I have enough room. So, of course, always professional drivers are usually the best, the most courteous at passing. The people who pass the closest end up being in luxury vehicles, or they end up driving RVs. So, don't know what to say about that other than everybody could use a little more driver's education. Am I right? But yeah, before I left town this morning, I did have coffee. I had 16 ounces of Black Butte Gold at Sisters Coffee Company. Do love what they do. Had a ham sandwich for breakfast, because why not? And also had a wonderful blueberry muffin. That really is a great spot to go. I recommend if you're ever in Sisters, go to the Sisters Coffee Company. They are great. Had a couple conversations with a couple of folks who either had done bicycle touring before. I did bump into one fellow. There was this guy who I didn't get the sense that I would have a long conversation with him either time, but kind of an eccentric fellow with a Bullet cargo bike. And when I saw him last night, he said, "I'm RVing," which is true. It's a big bike. It's great though. There were a lot of people at the Sisters Hiker Biker at the Creekside Campground. I was surprised. I think after I recorded last night's update, 2 more people showed up, and then this morning I woke up and there were 2 more bikes that had showed up. So really popular this at least last night it was, that there are many places where a bicyclist can set up camp, and I was grateful to see that nobody seemed to have been turned away. Everyone just kind of spread out far past what I would consider the hiker biker to be. If there was one suggestion I had for the Sisters Creekside Campground, it would be that maybe there could be more benches or more picnic tables, because there's only one, and there's only one staple to lock your bike to. So all that. And then I don't know exactly I would just recommend that everyone get headphones if you're going to listen to stuff. I woke up this morning, and part of waking up early, I think it's because I went to bed early, but I also woke up early and I heard that some guy was either listening to a motivational speaker or preaching or whatever, but it was that loud tinny sound that comes out of a smartphone speaker, and so that, I guess, was motivation for me just to get up, pack up, and go get my coffee somewhere else. All right, well, anyways, I am ready to make summit. I'm glad I took this break, glad I got some water, and now off I go.
I am taking a quick break for water here at the Riverside Campground down on Highway 22, and I'm probably not too far from Adana right now. I feel like I'm really making time. Covering all the miles is a lot easier when you're going downhill. And I realized as I was riding that I did this in a way. Not that I paved the roads or anything, but I worked pretty hard to gain all that elevation the past couple days. And as I'm going downhill, I'm reaping the benefits of all that pain yesterday. So I'm grateful for that. Feels pretty good. Also nice to find at the Riverside Campground, nice to find a place that has a water tap, and I am drinking water because water is good. I am sitting right here in Adana, Oregon. I'm at is it the River Mountain RV Resort? Or the Mountain River RV Resort? Anyways, they have some tent sites, and I reserved one back in April. I know because I looked at my email earlier to make sure I had all the details. And yeah, I stopped by the Adana store, and I got myself jalapeno poppers, so I'm only one day without them. And maybe I'll get a double order tomorrow just to have this be the jalapeno popper tour, because every tour needs a theme. I was able to check in with the host here at the campground, and they were able to switch me to Site I, which has shade. I do like shade, and honestly, Site I has more space. But I'm also pretty sure, we'll see. It is early in the day. I've been here for a little over an hour. I finished very early today, earlier maybe than I thought that I would. So I went to the store, I came here, I sat by the river, I changed into my swim trunks. I haven't actually gotten into the river yet, and by the signage I'm not supposed to. So you can just imagine that I will obey every posted sign here. Yeah, but I've got a wonderful shady spot to lay on the grass. I am in my swim trunks. I'm laying on grass. I feel great. I am wirelessly charging my phone because now that I'm back this close to civilization, I can spend electricity with abandon. I do not have to worry about recharging my batteries again. On my way into Adana, there was some fire activity. I saw some folks it looked like like the fire chief sort of car checking out the situation. There was some smoke. Shortly after that, there were several fire trucks that showed up. They passed on the highway, and so I don't know exactly what is happening with that. I'm just going to assume, unless I hear otherwise, that they have it under control. It is very close to here, actually, which is alarming, and everybody I've talked to, obviously, here in town was very close to what happened in 2020, so it's no laughing matter, but it's sobering to think about anything catching on fire because we're right next door to Detroit, Oregon, which basically the entire town burned down. I am grateful that, that from everything I can tell, everything is under control, so I am just laying here in the shadow of my bike, as it were, and I am grateful that I have a place to relax. I have not yet set up my tent because if for any reason I have to leave, I might as well just wait until later. But again, assuming that everything will be under control, I'm just going to take my leave here. I messaged my wife and I said, I'm in Adana. And she said, wow, early. And I am also surprised, like I mentioned earlier. I think gravity is a wonderful thing, and I earned so much of that elevation when I was going eastbound. So now coming westbound, I feel like I was able to reap the benefits. So I'm grateful for that. I don't think there's anything else that is of general interest to report. I could be wrong about that, but I'm just going to take this night 5. I'm going to take my leave here on the lawn. Going to enjoy my time to myself, listen to several podcasts, message as I can because connectivity is spotty. But after 55 miles on the bike today, I feel like I've earned my right to hang out. Tomorrow morning, I do need to get up and leave early because my son's preschool graduation is happening tomorrow. So I need to be there to encourage him to wear his mortar cap and maybe to help him walk with the rest of the kids up to be recognized for their achievements. I get it. I know that not everybody likes to be in front of people. I was that person for most of my life, so certainly understand. Anyways, I am also seeing a lot more cottonwood fluff than I remember seeing around my home. I feel like in my home had the cottonwood happening, like a month ago or something. but it's all through the air right now. And I guess I took my loratadine, which I'm glad to have access to this morning. So I'll do the best that I can. I don't even know if that's what I'm allergic to. I think what really took me down on day one of this tour was all the grass pollen, but we shall see. So anyways, I think that pretty much brings us up to date. Well, it is morning. It's about, it's 9:22. I packed my bike and my camp up. I've yet to close a couple of bags, but I'm saying goodbye to Adana in the River Mountain RV Park. It's a good place to stay, especially for having as much time yesterday to kill, as they say, as I had. I was really grateful to have time to listen, time to read, time to do a little bit of messaging and catching up on the world. The fire did not spread, and I did not hear sirens into the night, so I think they must have extinguished whatever was burning, which is good. And I got a shower, which is also good. I think I got what I paid for here. So from here, I head down the road to Detroit, and from there into the lowlands, into the Santiam Canyon. I am looking forward to seeing my family, looking forward to drawing this whole thing to a close. I'll probably record one more little missive before I'm done with the whole thing, but yeah, it's been a good trip. I think if there was anything I would take with me as advice and lessons learned, it's probably one, make sure I work out and get myself ready for what's coming, because elevation is no joke. It's really hard to climb hills. I think it's a lot easier to get out and do several days of kind of rolling hills, flatland touring, but it is very difficult to get used to going up and up and up, just like all day, every day. And so I guess not know your limits, but to just know what you're up against and be prepared for some disappointment, because going uphill is no fun. Going downhill is fun. Looking around at the top is fun, but going uphill, no fun. So anyways, that's my take on it. And here I go, down the highway, back towards home. Oh yeah, and one other thing I appreciate about bike touring is that there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces, but unless there is a need to work on the bike itself, usually I just store stuff in my bags on the bike. And so it's not that I don't make a mess, but my mess is contained. And I know there are varying people, varying perspectives, and varying thoughts about how to handle your stuff. I know some people love to unload and spread stuff out all over the place. To me, I guess having stuff everywhere stresses me out, but it's not hard to have the bikes on, or to have the bags on the bikes, and for stuff to be in its place. And so that helps me stay and feel organized. I made it to Sublimity. I am so happy. I have changed into a set of clothes that I was saving for the end of the ride. So I get to wear jeans and a collared shirt. I look like I smell good, even though I don't. And I'm just waiting now for my family to show up, because we've got the preschool graduation here today. In the meantime, I had a banana icy, which is the superior flavor of icy. I had a cookies and cream ice cream bar, and then I had a Diet Coke and a zero sugar cherry Coke, both of which satisfied me greatly. Now I should probably have some water, because all of those contain water, but I need more water in me. So I'm trying to think if there are any last summary thoughts that I would have about this tour. I know that I would have done well to have been in better shape probably before I left, but so say we all. So say all who see such times, but that is not for us to choose. Gandalf was wise. Anyways, I think my legs are tired. I think I've done about as much as I should have done, given my physical condition. I do also feel that, I told somebody the other day, I don't know how I did this so much when I was younger. I feel as though what I did this week really put me through the ringer. So I must have been younger, and I must have wanted it more or something. I must have had the vitality of youth. Anyways, it's nice to know that it's still possible to get out there. It was fun to do some gravel. I think I did just enough gravel to kind of satisfy my thirst for that. I would like to go back and explore some of the woods outside of Sisters. I think that there's a lot of dirt track out there that'd be, even if I don't have a mountain bike, I think there'd be some good candidates for getting out there with wider tires. My 32 centimeter tires and my Schwalbe Marathon do pretty well on some of that stuff. So as long as it's not like a dust trail, I think it'd be fun. I was looking at some of those things as I was riding on the highway, and I thought, it's probably not that bad. But I also probably got scared off by the snow that I encountered on the other part when I was coming from Oak Ridge, and I didn't want to get any more of that. And then you just never know what shape those roads are in. I am extremely grateful that no major catastrophes happened. I was feeling awfully down after climbing Mackenzie Pass. Mackenzie Pass was great, and I'm glad that I did it, but my body was not ready for that, and that was one of the things that made that such kind of a miserable day for me. But I remember it being a miserable day back in 2015, too, after I'd been on the road for like 2 weeks or something, so maybe it's just steep. Maybe that's it. I think I did it in the same sequence, also climbing, 5,800 feet the day before, the same thing in 2015, so I remember enjoying that and feeling like I'd accomplished something, but also I remember it being a difficult physical experience no matter how old I am. So there's that. Sometimes you just put yourself out there, you work hard, and it hurts, but you get to brag about it after. So I think that's probably about it. I'm also grateful, the situation with my wife and I are swapping adventure weeks where I get to go out and do this one, and she will go out in August and do some hiking on her own as well. And I think when you've got kids, it's a decent proposition, especially if you are partnered with an active person. It's nice to know that just because you've got kids doesn't mean you can't do the things that you used to like to do. You just have to plan differently for them. And most certainly, I will be working hard taking care of the kids this next time around when she goes out for her adventure. And, of course, there are many adventures you can have with kids. They're just a different size, different shape. I would not have taken my kids on this one that I took with all of that gravel and having to break a chain and everything. So, yeah, fingers crossed and knocking on the wooden structure that this metal picnic table sits underneath. The chain did need some links removed, so I was able to do that. But there were no other mechanical failures. The tires held up. The new wheel that I had built by Bobby Corbisser. Bobby's great, and he's working at the Bike Peddler in Salem. And longtime listeners might remember Bobby from the Sprocket Podcast. We met he and his friend back in the day when we were camping at Stubbs Stewart State Park. And he became a guest on the show later after that. But he builds a good wheel because I really put it through the paces, and it's still doing its thing right now. I'm looking at it over there. It still looks round. It still looks true. I am impressed. So thank you, Bobby. Appreciate that. I still have 2 packets or 3 packets of instant mashed potatoes left over that I did not eat or did not want to eat or didn't have time to eat. I ate jalapeno poppers on every day of this tour, except for one. That was, I think, the day that I rolled into Sisters, and I felt like I really needed some actual vegetables, some fresh food in me. But then I did have twice the amount of jalapeno poppers today. I stopped twice for jalapeno poppers because, as I noted, I missed a day. So let's call this the jalapeno popper ride of 2023. And I did also wear the Habaneros Mexican restaurant shirt each day. I got a shirt of theirs, and it's a nice, like a cotton poly blend. It's the kind of thing I like to wear, and I wore that as my sun cover every day. It's a long sleeve black t-shirt. It's going to need a good wash. I was representing them, so hey, Habaneros, you want to do a collabo? I might just go get a burrito anyways and call that a collabo. You guys make good burritos, so. This is Brock Dittus signing off from Sublimity, Oregon. You can follow me on Instagram. I just finished posting a number of pictures from the trip as a highlight on my profile, so that's at Brockman, BROCKMON. And you can also, of course, go to Pedalshift at pedalshift.net and follow Pedalshift on all of the social media outlets there. I don't mind riding around. It's a good way to be. So, thank you, and appreciate you putting up with my voice for this long.
Thank you for joining. You can find Pedalshift at pedalshift.net for more great bicycle touring content. You can hear the Pedalshift project through Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Opening music courtesy of Jason Kent off his self-titled album. The track is called America. Check out his band Sunfield's latest release, Mono Mono, wherever cool music is available.